All right, Alex. Well, we just got back from seeing Destiny the Taken King. We got to check out their PvP mode, Mayhem. Basically, it's like near unlimited super mode. Every like 30 or 40 seconds, your super just comes up. So that means that we got a chance to see all of the supers.
Yeah, in Destiny the Taken King, there are 3 new subclasses, which means there are 3 new supers. And from what I saw of them, it actually seems like the supers are going to be pretty cool.
So the one that you and I both really liked was the Titan's Hammer. Now, the Titan basically pops a solar hammer. There's a big dong, like everybody on the field knows that it happened. And then you just basically have this rocket launcher. You're just running around the map with this hammer, just throwing it until your meter runs out. It just creates a large solar explosion, disintegrates anything in its path. It was probably the more satisfying of the new supers.
Yeah, I'd say so too. When I got to play it, it ended up being sort of like forcing me into some sort of strategy where like I would run into a group of enemies and pop it and just throw the hammer as fast as possible to get as many kills. Another thing that's interesting about that, though, is it does have a pretty heavy arc on it, and so you do have to actually aim your throws with the hammer to make sure that you hit the enemies.
So then now the Warlock basically has a chain lightning. It's like Emperor Palpatine's like chain lightning from Star Wars. Yeah. Now we found that was a little bit underwhelming in PvP just because you're so vulnerable when you're using it.
Right.
You basically hover in the air and you're just going around the map shooting lightning out of your fingertips. But you gotta, it's like more like the LMG class than the launchers. You have to like really hold it on people for a length of time.
Yeah, exactly. And it requires a little bit of patience to use it. Like it takes a couple seconds for it to actually, get a person's health down to the point where they might die. The thing that I liked about it, though, was that you could run into a room and if they're, in Mayhem, everything's exploding all the time, so it's hard to see sometimes. The thing about the Warlock Super, which is called Storm Trans, that's what it's called, is that you can actually basically blind fire it. You can run into a room, even if you can't see anything, and just pop it and just start firing it, and it will hit people if they're in the room with you.
And then the Hunter, which neither of us actually got our hands on, but we got hit by, has basically a charged arrow now. Now, if the arrow hits you, then it automatically kills you. But if it doesn't hit you, it basically creates a sticky trap. So basically the Hunter, I guess, finally has their root spell they've never had.
Yeah, and one of the interesting parts about this, it doesn't show up in the trailers, is that as soon as you pop it, the Hunter pulls back and shoots. So you don't really have any time to aim. This makes it super difficult to actually hit an enemy. And if you do, you score an insta-kill. But if you don't, it hits the ground and creates that, kind of the gravity well that pulls in enemies and blinds them.
Now, of the 2 maps that we saw, one was Sector 618, which took place inside the fortified wall of the old city. That one was basically just kind of a jumping, platforming map.
Yeah.
But the more interesting one was the Crossroad map, which basically had the Manapult. It was only a matter of time before man catapults came back. Bungie, we knew that you were going to do that.
Yep. Bungie, they're known for their Halo maps, and those Halo maps oftentimes have teleporters and man cannons, all sorts of stuff that can fling you around the map. And they're back in Crossroads, and it's pretty great.
Now, that map was really interesting because you basically had the catapults going over the middle. So, players would be crossing each other in the middle. You're definitely going to get the typical sniping of people in midair. But then at the back of the map on either side, there's a teleporter. So you can actually run to the back of the map and flip all the way to the other side. So that means you're going to get this great, Mayhem, as the mode intends, where people are basically dropping supers flying through the middle and then crossing through the back of the map constantly.
Yeah, and another thing that I personally liked about this map is it has really long sight lines, which means that there are going to be some awesome sniper gameplay, which Destiny is kind of lacking at the moment. So I really like that map.
And you and I both flipped through the gear just a little bit to see what the Taken King had. We saw some pretty cool, future war cult ships in the beginning, but also the weapons were a little bit different. There was a suppressed pistol in my secondary, or a suppressed sidearm, I guess it's called. So I don't know, suppressors, haven't really seen that yet.
Yeah, and also the gear now has a little bit of boost for things like agility and strength and stuff. So I saw one on my boots that was if you get a kill with a melee, it'll boost your agility for 5 seconds after that. So that's pretty cool as well.
So overall, I think Taken King, at least from a PvP perspective, seems to be shaping up well. The vid doc that everybody got to see shows that the raid and everything's coming along. So I guess next step we'll have to see and try and get our hands on what these supers do in the PvE environment.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, for more coverage of Destiny Taken King, stay tuned to GameSpot.com.